Hey guys, Dantics here. As you may have seen, the extended gameplay trailer for Exodus just dropped, and it rightly has many of you much more excited. So I had a chance to play Exodus recently, and because of this, I have a few exclusive details that you may have missed. Plus, I have much more gameplay to share with you that you won't see elsewhere. I'm going to go through narrative, characters, writing, combat, customization, sound, graphics, choices, consequences, secrets, and much more. So let's start this exhaustive breakdown. The establishing shot here is simply showing you your ship, but what is interesting is the mech suit next to June. It's not Elise's mech, so whose is it? Perhaps a character we have yet to see. In this scene, June starts by casting Erupt to potentially hit 3 enemies in the line. He ends up doing that. What we don't know is the particular enemy types we're facing here. We didn't face them during my playtest of the game, so all I can do is assume. They could be a type of Mariama changeling, the Coven, or a variant of Ghosts. It's hard to tell, but they do seem more organic and eldritch horror, which is more the Mariama's thing. Either way, there's a ton of enemy variety in this game. You'll notice that you can use your environmental ability Shape to instantly build a piece of cover for you to slide into. They've designed this game to feel dynamic and give you plenty of options in combat. It's now that the player brings up the weapon wheel. We can see that they have 3 recycler modes equipped, even though more can be unlocked. Impact is currently rank 3, and they switched to the Repeater, which is also rank 3, but it's good against shields. The build I played didn't have the shield piercing tooltip listed, so it's good to know they're still fine-tuning. In fact, a lot of this trailer is an incredible improvement over the build we just played. To the left are gadgets and tools, which we'll go through soon. We have Lance, Erupt, and Petrify abilities equipped, as well as a grenade. So the player switches to the Repeater and makes short work of whatever enemy that was. Next you see the companion wheel. We have Phaedra and Elise on our squad. Elise's knockdown missile does what it says, knock down targets while dealing a lot of damage. I found it particularly useful against flying enemies or enemies that have been primed, like with Tom's cryo bomb, which would set off a synergy explosion. Her ultimate micro missile barrage does extreme damage in an AoE. So the player commands Elise to fire her knockdown missile, which finishes off the target previously hit with the eruption. In the meantime, up again goes the weapon wheel. The player then hovers over Sonic Lure, which does what you'd expect. You'll see that in action a bit later. It lures targets to it while you're in stealth, making it easier for you to get past them or lead them into a trap. We have 6 of these and 3 scrambled cloaks, which let us go invisible and reposition to deal high damage in a takedown melee attack. You can craft both of these and grenades and ammo at your way stations. The player also switches to the bomber mode of his recycler. This is only rank 2, but it's an armor-piercing explosive projectile launcher that does area damage. You immediately see it in action against an armored enemy, denoted by the yellow health bar. It does extremely high damage, but it has a low magazine size and total ammo, so no doubt it'll take quite a few resources to craft more. So when upgrading it with mods, which I'll show soon, you'll want to offset that. The player then uses Cloak to go invisible and finish off the enemy with a takedown. So now we have a bit of a showcase of the environments you'll discover, and there's seemingly a lot of them. You get to most of these on your ship, traveling close to light speed, in order to find remnants of ancient technologically superior celestial races, which can potentially save your homeworld from the rot. Now, this looks like a statue, but it's called a Death Speaker. In our play session, we came across 2 of these, be it much smaller versions. They're guardians given the memories and personalities of their creator in order to aid or hinder those that find them, or in order to maintain some kind of status quo. We can see June surrounded by Imperial Celestial mechs and an Imperial Knight, which is one of the most deadly threats in the galaxy. Vastly superior technology mixed with decades of skill and training. It's unclear what is happening here, but it doesn't look too good for June. Hey, hi, it's me again. I'm not sure if I've earned your sub yet, but I have a lot of content coming, so if I haven't, maybe drop a comment or a like instead. I really do appreciate it. So we see some more environments, areas we can discover secrets and gain upgrades. This area though is something we'll see in more depth later on. It grants us an upgrade to June's Gauntlet, which allows him to shape Lifestone into a lance, which will let us destroy the glowing red bramble to the right. Here's what looks to be the first time you'll encounter a ghost blade, a deadly construct you don't want to let get close to you. Conveniently, the glowing red in front of you is limestone you can use to shape some cover. Now, this mysterious figure is Emery's, a celestial that may or may not become a companion and potential romance. It's fairly confirmed considering he's joining you on your ship and seems to be along for the ride. His reveal in the trailer prior was a completely different area.
Child of Orion, fulfill the purpose for which you were crafted.
I'd be surprised if someone doesn't put Salt on their combat team.
Who to fall for and who to leave behind.
Who to fall for suggests that these are all potentially romanceable companions. Starting from the left, we have a mysterious woman who we've seen a glimpse of in trailers prior. Honestly, they've made her a little weirder looking over time, so I'm not incredibly excited to see her path. Tom is next, and they gave him a tragic backstory of loss in the reveal trailer, so I'm interested to see how he develops. Then we have June, the player character, and next to him is a girl we've seen a lot of in trailers and marketing material. She looks like the most normal female on your squad, but the familiar body language she's using with June might mean she's a sibling of some kind. I sure hope not. Next to her is Elise, and I guess if you like strong Jack characters, then she'll be it for you. Chris also mentions who to leave behind, and that's a choice you'll most likely get often, as you can only bring so many with you on Exodus, meaning that some companions will need to be left on Lydon. When you return, many years or decades could have passed, aging them significantly, but they'll at least be there to carry on your dynasty and enact your will when it comes to how people use the technology you find. So you'll be going on this journey to save Lydon with your awakened canine brother, Houston.
June. Hey, come on.
Houston?
I'm here. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Sadly, he won't be a combat companion, but having two awakened animals on your crew, along with Salt the awakened octopus, is fine to me. If we include Emrys, that's at least 3 almost alien personalities joining you.
June was orphaned from a once powerful family. He has a unique and mysterious genetic trait that lets him interact with ancient celestial technology. And it's this trait which might be the key to saving your home planet.
Shit. It really works.
Salvager's dream.
Now this segment is fairly early in the game, but I've had a chance to play it. This is right when you meet Tom and Elise and go on your first salvaging mission together. Like Chris King said, you have the unique ability to interface with celestial tech, meaning you can get into places salvagers only dream of. What happens exactly to propel you into the hero's role? You'll just have to play to find out.
You'll be able to customize your June as a male or female with several options to adjust your appearance.
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to make and customize my June, so I can't comment much here, except that you can indeed customize your looks to a limited extent, and you may have other things to select on the character creation screen that affect combat, but the devs haven't spoken to this yet. Just like Mass Effect, there'll be an alignment system. In this case, it's called Paladin and Immortal. Both will take up the hero role, but will do things very differently, similar to Paragon and Renegade. In this case, you can show your ID or threaten the guards. Threatening them makes them attack, gaining you immortal points. However, in my playthrough, I selected Show ID, which has June talk down the guards and suggest that they're just simple arms dealers. This makes the guards stand down and gives you Paladin points. So it's a minor choice with minor consequences, but they're consequences nonetheless.
Drop your weapons. Get on the ground.
Lev, don't be stupid. They've got a combat mech.
Drop your weapons now.
These choices will shape your character and change how the world responds to you.
Listen to your friend and let this go.
Not gonna happen, you mercenary scum.
There'll be many opportunities to get Paladin and Renegade points in conversations. There'll be some options in conversations that require a particular alignment level, and there'll also be skills in the skill tree that require an alignment level, as well as an oath system that gives bonuses based on committing to an alignment, but I can't talk about that in depth as the system may change over time. We're back to combat, with June taking out some ghosts with his repeater. They're armored, so it's not going to break through as easily as the bomber. You'll notice on the right that you pick up charges for your abilities, like the lance, so it doesn't have a cooldown. You get these charges out in the world from taking out enemies. The player uses one of those abilities, Petrify, which throws out a live stone seed that freezes enemies and certain objects. It can also be cast on the ground to create limestone trip mines to capture enemies. This is seemingly much later in the game as we have many more recycler modes available, so the player switches to the Lance Glyph and the Bomber Recycler mode for this fight, both of which can make short work of armored enemies.
Let's check out some work in progress gameplay so you can get a feel for the systems, storytelling, choices, and characters that make up Exodus. The first two companions you meet are Elise and Tom. Elise is an impatient mech pilot that loves to blow stuff up and leans into brute force. Tom is an experienced traveler who helps teach June the ropes. He tends to be more cautious and provides June with moral perspective. Let's join them as they start a new salvage mission.
All loaded up?
Gears in storage. My lovely suit. Good to go.
Where's Tom?
Last minute prep. Or drinking. Probably both.
Does he do that often? Drinking right before a job?
Man's got his vices, but he gets shit done, okay? Nothing else to say.
Good. You made it. Let's hop on.
Like I mentioned, you meet Elise and Tom first, and they're quite different in how they function. There will be moments where agreeing with Elise will gain you immortal points, but siding with Tom will gain you paladin points, and this is probably intentional. Elise does what it takes, and Tom cares about those around him. The scenes you're seeing now are from an early mission that I had the opportunity to play. Without spoiling details, I very much enjoyed the writing and cinematic direction of this mission, and I have no doubt you will as well. The part you saw before on the train with the guards is part of this mission. I mentioned Salt before, that I see her being a fan favorite. Here's why.
We got your back, June. You too, Salt.
Not necessary. If you die, I leave. Contract void.
Wow. You don't mince words, do you?
It's an Octo thing. You'll get used to it.
All right. Time to move out.
Octopuses are independent, and naturally when awakened, they'll retain that direct, independent, hunter-style personality. So I foresee her being a kind of Shale or HK-47 type character. Note that we get a better look at the girl with no name here in a seemingly combat-ready outfit, so I'm hoping she can be brought with us. If so, her and Salt all the way.
It's an Octo thing.
You'll also meet other interesting characters, like the mysterious CC Orlev, voiced by Matthew McConaughey.
Howdy, friend. Strange times we find ourselves in. Named CC Orlev.
In this scene, CC helps out June by giving him a recycler upgrade.
Before we continue on to mods, let's first discuss CC Orlev. There's no way they get Matthew McConaughey to voice a nothing burger character. CC has to be someone important. Just look at the aura on his guitar. I have a feeling he may not even be human. Alright, there's a lot to analyze here, and thankfully I know what we're looking at. First, we're on the Recycler Loadout tab. Above that is your Character tab, below that is your spacesuits, what you can equip to further customize your playstyle, and below that are your items. Right now the player has 3 Recycler modes equipped, along with the tools we saw before. We'll be seeing the Sonic Lure and Thruster Grenades soon. To the far right we see the stats of the Spectre. As you increase its ranks, these stats will improve. They'll also improve as you mod the mode. You'll notice that there's a stat for Glyph Recharge, meaning you can mod your weapons to make your powers be able to be fired off more often. Like mentioned in my previous video, the Spectre is great from stealth, but it takes some time to charge up and fire, making it not good in a heavy firefight unless you're safe behind cover. The player then clicks on Mod Weapon. We can see here that the Spectre has 4 slots for mods, and particular mods fit in particular sections. The other sections are filled, so let's slot in something in the first one. We have 5 mods to choose from. Note that mods have their own rarities. These all seem to be the same rarity, rare, denoted by the color. Calculated Ricochet makes it so the Spectre can ricochet its rounds off surfaces, so while you're charging it, you'll see a path in which it can bounce. Overload Charge adds another charge up stage when charging the gun. This second stage does 100% more damage and adds a secondary effect, so even more powerful sneak attacks. Enfeebling Shot makes it so that if the Spectre hits a weak spot, the target's damage is reduced by 25% for 3 seconds. Weak spots are shown in yellow after you scan an enemy, and I'm not sure that's enough of a reduction for such a cost. Then we have Quicken Charge, which makes it so now the Spectre is much better in a firefight, able to charge up the shot 50% faster. Bolt Return isn't highlighted, but it makes it so you can collect the bolts you fire to replenish ammo. If nothing else, you should be able to see now how mods can drastically change how your recycler modes function. There are a lot cooler mods than the ones shown here that I had a chance of using myself. It made a mode I previously didn't like into my favorite. So the player chooses Quicken Charge, which we'll see in action in this combat sequence.
June, what's it look like in there?
A lot of mercs, but I think I can thin a few of them out without being seen.
We got your back, June. Things go bad? We'll kick in that door and come running.
How you engage the enemy is up to you. In this encounter, June has to deal with a deadly turret, along with Lycan, the leader of the Fire Eaters. He's heavily protected, and things could get out of hand quick. Let's use this new recycler mod to stealthily take out some enemies and make things a bit easier.
About the way I'm running things now. You whining peasant better fall in line, or I'll start taking fingers.
Next, let's use the Scramble Cloak to sneak up on some enemies.
KOTOR was a shit leader. No vision, no discipline. We're going to do things different now that I'm in charge. First step, cutting out the deadwood. You all better start earning your keep.
This turret is protected with heavy armor. Let's toss a thruster grenade to deal massive damage.
So beginning from the start of the sequence, we see that the player doesn't snap into cover. Instead, June naturally presses himself against it and gets an armor icon over their body. This is the system. There is no button to snap, you'll do it freeform. Using the precognition ability, you can scan the environment, which lights up things that can be interacted with, like explosive barrels, and marks points of interest. By scanning individual targets, you can get a more in-depth look. You see their weak point denoted in yellow, their health, as well as any vulnerabilities they have to your weapons. For example, this turret has immunity from damage if you hit its shields, and it absolutely shreds through you if you leave it up. However, it's weak versus armor-breaking weapons and tools, and it has a weak point on its back, the ammo canister that can be targeted and blown up to stop it firing and also dealing major damage. Scanning targets also marks them, letting you always see them even through cover. Named enemies were common in my play session, and they're enemies that often contain unique loot, but are also stronger than your regular enemies. Most of the time, they'll talk to you and taunt you as you fight them. Now it's time to use the new and improved Spectre, and bam, it takes out enemies quickly and silently. You'll notice that you get a preview of the damage it'll do before you take the shot, and I'm sure if you highlighted over the turret or Lycan, you'd see that you can't instantly take them out with a single shot, meaning it's better to stealth around and take out the scrubs first, at least until you upgrade the Spectre's damage. So the player uses Cloak to reposition. Sliding cancels the cloak effect, but it's okay, as the player drops down and executes a target from behind.
No vision, no discipline. We're going to do things different now that I'm in charge.
Once again, you can see the preview of the damage it'll do before you commit, as not killing a target may alert everyone else to your presence. The enemy drops a lot of loot, and the player takes out another target and makes his way to the turret. The player, anticipating a fight, switches to the repeater and equips a thruster grenade, which is particularly good against armor. It latches onto its shield plate though, and still does around half its health. The player then shoots through the gap in the turret's armor, making sure he deals damage. He then commands Elise to fire her knockdown missile to finish the turret off. The player then fires wildly into enemies in a way only possible on consoles, then takes out an explosive barrel. It kills one enemy and knocks Lycan to the ground, so yes, mini-boss enemies can be crowd controlled. The player runs to the left and jumps over and slides under trip mines, which are there to make stealth a little bit more difficult as you need to spend time disarming them unless you go around. The player then switches to the Piercer, which is a burst fire rifle that's good against weak points, though the player hasn't leveled it up at all. You'll notice that it takes out an enemy very quickly, and there's a satisfying pop sound when you kill him with a headshot. The player then commands Tom to fire off a cryo bomb, which applies a frost effect to enemies, drastically slowing them down. They're also primed, so any explosive or detonating ability will set off a combo. We'll circle back to that, but first, you see the player pick up some scrap. Materials like this can be used to craft ammo, even mid-combat. It can also be used to craft mods or replenish your tools at home or at way stations. So the player keeps the pressure on and ends up blowing up an explosive barrel. That sets off the Frozen Synergy combo, dealing huge damage and spreading the effect. You see the effect being refreshed on his ally, who the player takes out with a series of headshots. Finally, he throws another grenade to finish up Lycan. So now the trailer flash cuts past some exploration and a bit more combat.
Gotta hand it to you. Never thought you pricks would make it this far. Too bad you reached the end of the road.
Just getting started. Making it past your friends was a breeze. I hope you're more of a challenge.
We've got control of the auto cannon. How's that for a challenge?
Okay, that is going to be difficult.
So you sneak around the boss and can disable the guns, but are faced with a major choice.
June, time to do your thing.
I'm in. Taking the guns offline now.
Wait. This is a control room, right? Should be a way to open the airlock doors. Blast all those damn mercs out into space in one shot.
Whoa, hold on. There could be dock workers and maintenance crew in there. We can't just vent the airlock.
Fuck that! We're gonna walk up there to verify who's a merc and who's a zealot dock worker who might just kill us on sight anyway?
Tom's right. You can't be reckless when lives are at stake.
But you don't mind putting our lives at risk?
I'd rather die in a fair fight than risk killing a single innocent bystander.
Whatever. I could use some more target practice anyway.
Let's move. We've given the mercs too much of a head start already.
Purging gives you immortal points and approval from Elise, and not purging gives you paladin points and approval from Tom. So their opposing views come into play here, as you're not going to be able to make everyone happy, just like in real life. I actually love the animated infographic style to represent major choices. I'd be against it if it showed spoilers of what's to come, but as it is now, it adds weight while you're mulling over choices that have massive consequences. I foresee this being used when collecting remnant artifacts and deciding how to use them for the good of humanity. It's here you notice the trailer flash forwards past the boss fight. It's similar to this one, which is footage from my play session. You fight a powerful mech with a rocket pod on its shoulder. If you take out the rocket pod, it will do major damage to the mech and remove its ability to almost one-shot you. It seems there are checkpoints in almost every mission wherein you can put down a way station, craft, resupply, and best of all, talk to your companions. This is one such piece of banter.
You know the strangest part of being out here?
Years have already passed on Leiden.
Exactly. Spend a few hours on this world, a few days, a few weeks. It's all the same for the people back home.
What you may have noticed is that Emery's is in the background there. This is mid-mission, so this confirms he is a combat companion and will be joining your squad. So where do you return to after these missions? Your home city of Persepolis. The idea is that you will watch this grow and change as the years and decades pass during your tenure as a traveler, and better yet, your choices will also shape it. It's here that awakened animals and man live together. This is one of the many shops I got to visit. run by a forgetful elephant vendor. Yes, you can buy the things on his shelves, but I can't tell you why.
Good morning, afternoon, I forget. Regardless, nice to meet you.
You forget?
Ah, you're doing the thing. The elephant forgot something. Is it better or worse if I notice or not?
You'll also notice right here that there is an awakened bear. These come in friendly varieties and not so friendly varieties. So now the trailer introduces you to another one of your companions, Phaedra.
Oh, I'm sorry. The lights, you need them, don't you?
And you don't?
No. The eyes, they don't work. So I built my own. Spectrum's different. External light sources are irrelevant, but it's close enough to what you would call, sight. Impressive. The rot's grown vicious, and it's only getting worse. People call it radiation, decay, but it's so much more than that. It rewrites celestial programming. Intelligently, adaptively. Intelligently? Like it's alive?
Phaedra has a particular interest in the rot, which is the technovirus slowly destroying the terraformers, keeping Lydon habitable. She's also affected by a celestial virus that left her blind. She sees with drones and technology and has a seemingly sunny disposition regardless of her situation. Yes, the sharp-eyed may have noticed Kara Boss from the Exodus secret level episode. She is, at least here, your pilot. So we've recruited Phaedra, and the next step is to find the leader of her Traveler dynasty, Elijah Nath, who set out to discover secrets that may help us. He vanished decades ago, and not much is known about what happened.
I must thank you for this opportunity, June, for allowing me to be part of this.
No point in waiting around. Next stop, Sang.
So this is a mission that is instigated by Phaedra, so you're required to bring her along. You'll notice that this is most likely why she has a lot to say as you explore the level. So this part is simply platforming. We use our ability to shape the Livestone to get through all of the obstacles. Before we continue on though, you'll notice this kind of real-time codex system. If you scan the environment, you can read further information about particular things instead of having to open up a menu. In my play session, these were voiced, so it's unclear if they will all be or just the ones that allow you to click into them for more information.
Along with Phaedra, we've decided to bring Salt. Her long-range sniper rifle and abilities that specialize in confusing enemies should come in handy.
Limestone deposits on those rocks in the center of the lake. If I can get there, I should be able to make a path across.
Right, perfect. I suppose we'll just, wait, here. Sang has always been extremely volatile. Completely unideal for civilization, even during the age of the detonator. Incredible! Your induction clearly shapes the Livestone itself, but what dictates the extent? Oh, so many questions and possibilities. This is already shaping up to be a most fortuitous partnership. Early travelers explored this moon, but they never reported anything of interest. The ones that survived, anyway. Of course, there have always been rumors in certain circles that one of the detonator factions may have hidden caches of treasure here. What kind of ghost is that?
I don't know, but I'd wager it's not friendly.
As you can see, this mode of Recycler is not doing much damage at all to this heavily armored Ghost Blade variant. So the player switches to the Shredder, which is the shotgun-like variant, and of course, it rips through the Ghost's health. The player then finishes it off with a heavy melee. In this case, you see a sword being used. This is a skill tree modification to your heavy melee. Now, if we rewind back, you'll notice that Phaedra fights with her drone, who aids her in combat, and also our weapon has a shock mod on it, which applied the shock effect to the enemy. If we were to detonate it, it would explode in a synergy shock combo. Continuing on, we have another combat section with a lot going on. Right now, we aren't detected, so let's get in there.
The number of ghosts is not decreasing.
Rewinding back, you can see that it's once again prudent to scan enemies just to mark them and get a lay of the land if you enjoy stealth combat. We have some basic soldiers and a much more deadly ghost sniper. It's shielded, but thankfully the shredder has been modded to pierce shields. You can tell by the icon next to it. The sniper will be scanning the battlefield, so staying behind cover will keep you hidden from it. The player then opens the weapon wheel and we see that the shredder has indeed been modified to have shock damage, which is good against shields. The player then switches to his sonic lure tool and finally shows us how it works. You throw it out in an arc and all enemies around it are distracted. While they're distracted, the player paints the enemy below, and knowing that he'll instantly kill the enemy with a takedown, he does so. While he may have been detected before, he isn't now, and he's able to quickly use the environment to zipline into cover. While in cover, he brings up the weapon wheel again and activates the Erupt glyph as enemies are perfectly lined up for him. The enemies are now clearly alerted, denoted by the red eye over its health bar. The player then switches to the repeater and starts taking out enemies who have been damaged and crowd controlled by the Erupt glyph. You notice that the repeater mode has been modified to burn targets. The player then brings up the companion wheel and uses both of his companion's ultimate abilities, Cascading Death from Salt and Quantum Linking for Phaedra, making short work of the remaining enemies. Even though they more or less died off screen as to not show you exactly what these ultimates do, it's to wet your beak a bit and not give you everything. From what we can see though, Phaedra seems to mass link and stun everyone, while Salt's ultimate seems to bounce on targets, dealing high damage. Like mentioned, every companion has an environmental ability. Elise, for example, can bust through walls around levels. This is the introduction to Phaedra's ability to interact with glyphs. Using any companion's environmental ability will give them approval, which can be used to invest in their individual skill trees. Early on in the game, you'll find a powerful artifact. This, coupled with your ability to interact with celestial tech, will allow you to shape Livestone. Much earlier on in this video, I mentioned that the gauntlet can be upgraded with glyphs to grant new abilities. Well, in Phaedra's mission, we unlock the Lance glyph.
June, be careful. Celestial technology can affect human bodies in unexpected ways.
Lance is powerful in combat like we've seen, but it also clears bramble, which is a byproduct of the rot. It seems all major glyphs will have some kind of environmental use. We know that Erupt can clear paths too. So as it turns out, Phaedra's grandfather Tom Cruise is still alive and guarding a secret he thinks is worth dying for. He also somehow unleashes a powerful ghost cannon boss on you. Let's watch before the breakdown.
I told you to turn back. I told you there was nothing here for you but death. You've seen too much now. Stupid, stubborn children.
Elijah has unleashed a corrupted and extremely powerful war machine on the team.
Scanning the ghost cannon reveals some important information. First, it's immune to takedown, so stealth is obviously off the table. It's weak to consume, which is an effect we have yet to see. It's brambled, which means it will be weak to our lance if we can find the bramble spot. Also, once the missile pod plates are pulled away, they'll be vulnerable to damage. You'll notice at the start of combat, Phaedra finds the nearest piece of cover and starts commanding her drone to attack for her. So Phaedra might be great at taking out targets that are hiding or are in cover. Unfortunately, her and the player are hitting the thick armor hide, which is doing no damage to the cannon. Once the plates open up, it's ripe for the shoot sting, but it also means that the mortars are coming your way. Even while rolling, June is vulnerable and takes a bit of damage. You'll notice that after firing, the cannon is briefly stunned. It then follows up with powerful beams. The player tries throwing a grenade, but it too hits the armor and does nothing. Patience is the key with this boss. Or you can use Phaedra's volatile hold. It temporarily stuns the cannon, allowing the player to get behind it and find the bramble point. Destroying it does a huge chunk of damage. The player then thinks it's wise to get out of its range and get into some cover. He does so and brings up the weapon wheel, switching to the piercer, which is more accurate and better at hitting weak points, which is pretty much all you'll be damaging on this boss anyway. While the rocket pods are open, the player selects the lance and lodges one in, doing another huge chunk of damage. The player then jumps down and tries to put the pressure on the cannon with his repeater mode, but the cannon recovers in time to give June a vasectomy with its beams, knocking off 3 whole health pips, so you don't want to take 2 of these in a row. The player then waits for the right time and selects Phaedra's volatile hold, which is a shock ability that stuns, and Salt's ultimate cascading death, which detonates. It ends up being a stunned synergy combo on the ghost cannon. This combined with some shredder shots to heavily damage the front face of the mech, put it into a stagger state. While in this state, a single lance to the missile battery takes it out from almost half health, probably because enough weak points were destroyed. Remember, cool guys don't run away from explosions. Or collect loot, as it turns out. So far we've seen named enemies, mini bosses, and bosses like this one. Each seemingly have different attacks and weaknesses and ways to take them out. So enemy variety, like mentioned, is very high in this game. So this is near the crescendo of the mission, confronting Phaedra's grandfather Elijah so you can obtain information that may help keep Leiden from being destroyed by the rot. Here you'll be presented with a major choice.
But my dynasty ends here.
Put down your weapon or shoot Elijah. The player opts to shoot him, and while he falls, he shoots Phaedra. It's unknown if Phaedra can potentially die here. If so, that's a huge consequence, as you'll lose a combat-ready companion. I think it's probably not that extreme, but I'm sure there'll be some consequences to either one. Perhaps putting down your gauntlet might result in you being shot instead, or more likely, the ability to talk Elijah down may have you not killing him. Keeping him alive might also tend some future consequence. After this scene, we'll no doubt be checking out the secret and perhaps get another major choice to make in how to use it. Remember, the devs aim to have this game filled with choice, and I feel like you've seen plenty in this reveal so far. To finish up this extended trailer, we get a look at a bar filled with Archetype changelings. These were created to be extremely resistant and adaptable so they can mine hostile worlds for their celestial masters. There's also a Gath changeling to the left, which was also bred for manual labor. No doubt you'll have to earn trust in a place like this, but of course, these are aliens without being alien, right? Speaking of aliens, this is a crawler, an actual alien. Yes, there are alien fauna and flora in this galaxy, just no sentient ones that didn't have terrestrial origins. Crawlers seem to be massive dune-like worms and are incredibly deadly according to the handbook. Here we have an ability that holds enemies in place, only for us to follow up with an erupt, which seems to combo the enemy into oblivion. Here we see an actual black hole, which I hope was created by June because that's a cool looking power. We can see it pulling what looks to be energy from an enemy, so it might actually just slow them down and pull them towards the center. So now I have a bit of footage that I'm allowed to share from a part of the game that I was able to playtest. There's a lot of crossover, so I'll try to keep it brief. First, this statue-like machine is a death speaker. Like mentioned, these are intelligent AI gifted the memories and personalities of their creators. In this particular section of the game, we could help them as a side mission within a mission, and if we do, we have a choice to make. Disable them or keep them functional. Both can have consequences. There was a ton of combat in this part of the game, so I have a little bit for you here. Keep an eye on the use of powers on flying enemies to great effect. First, like always, we're opening with a scan and we see a named enemy as well as some zealot soldiers. If we skip a little forward, you can see taking out an enemy with a melee attack and a bullet to the head. We're taking a little bit of damage, and you'll notice that these flying enemies are very, very potent. So we use Tom's cryo bomb, which freezes the enemy, and it ends up taking a lot more damage because of it. Then we use our grenade to take out the remaining enemy. Here we are in another sequence. Once again, cryo bomb to these flying enemies to take them out very, very quickly. And we can handle the rest of these scrub enemies very easily. This is Sergeant Klein. He is a mini boss of sorts, and those rockets deal a lot of damage. So of course, we're taking out the rocket pod. First, we use Tom to slow the enemy down. Yes, you can still do status effects to these major enemies. It does a lot of damage to you, as you can see. We take off its faceplate, and now we can kill him fairly easily.
Glad you decided to evac when you did, June. Shit was getting rough out here. Well, we're clear. There's no tail. I'm taking the long way to Persepolis, just in case.
And that's everything. What do you think? More or less excited? I know we're more than, well, 40 minutes into this, so if you stuck around this long, I really do appreciate you. And I won't keep you much longer, so be sure to follow for much, much more exclusive Exodus content on its way. Until next time, ciao friends.